Adding myself this time right off the bat. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the show. My name is Stuart Davis. I am a flawed man of God, a humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. Look at me going into my old intro until the new, more free-form intro, but that's true. Just to open things up, this is a very layperson, a very Bible study styled stream with people of different branches of Christianity can come together. People who have been Christians for a long time, people who have been Christians a day, or people just looking into Christianity can come together and discuss the faith and discuss scripture, which is what we're doing right now. And as we move through it, learn to talk to each other, bounce ideas off each other, hear what everybody else has to say, and especially if you are new to Christianity, learn more about what it's like to be around people of the faith. Maybe you're not, maybe you're at that level where you want to believe and you want to take that next step. But church is a big step, right? Maybe hanging out with us for a little bit might make you a little bit more comfortable for it. But look, this is not a substitute by any means for church. This is a place for us to hang out and talk about something that is very, very important to us in our lives. And we very much want to see you grow in that matter. I will always push you towards people who are smarter, which is a lot of people, to a preacher, to somebody who is to a priest, to somebody who is much more professional in their understanding and practices. I'm just somebody who can help introduce you. If you are all, and for all my fellow folks who are already established Christians, just somebody to talk to about it. And this show, while I'm the host, and while I run the program, this is just as much for you guys to put your input and direction into as me. Like I said, right now we've got a project going on where we're reading through scripture. We're going through Genesis to Revelation, a couple of chapters on average, a couple of chapters at a time, most nights out of the week, Monday through Thursday, and just talking about how it impacts us. We're not trying to do the super deep dive into things. We're not trying to parse out, what the extra meaning is. If you guys have got things to bring up about it, awesome. And especially for folks who are, I'm a non-denominational Christian. For those few folks who want to bring in what the Catholic Church teaches a certain passage means, or the Orthodox, or the Presbyterians, or the Baptists, or the Lutherans, or the maybe Anglican. Maybe if you're the other Paul, that's my boy. But you got to be a little choosy around them. But in all seriousness, love to have all you guys come around and be part of this group. And we have a chat. The chat is there for you and is there for the other folks who tune in. We got a great group of folks. They tune in and they get part of the chat. You'll see some regulars in there. Please do not hesitate to be part of that. Get yourself in there and be part of the show. So that's what we're doing right now. And if you like what you see, if you want to support the show, this is not a show that has any intentions on monetary gain. The way to support the show is just like it, subscribe to it, and share it with people who you think might need to hear it or might want to hear it. People who are into podcasts, I say, hey, I'm looking for something kind of relaxed, kind of chill, but also has a kind of a godly edge to it, or something that maybe they can voice their opinion on. This is the show, at least in my opinion. So that's how you can support the show, and that's the introduction. And folks, it has been a weekend. All right, good thing I don't stream on Fridays, because if I'd have been streaming Friday, I would not have been there. we are thinking at this point that the norovirus hit this house midweek. And when I was telling you I had sick kids and I was taking care of them, they were doing the normal bleh, throwing up and stuff. That's had no idea it was going to be what it was. But there I was in the late hours of Friday, wee hours of Saturday, um, asking God for strength and mercy. Um, and got me, mother-in-law, hit the mother-in-law, wife got it, father-in-law got it right after that. The whole house has been hit now. Me and the youngest got hit about the same time. We were on the same schedule. I'm in the bathroom, and I'm not going to go into detail. I'm in the bathroom, and I'm getting texts from my wife saying that the youngest is doing the same thing at the same time. Like, wake up, get to, oh man, bing, look at it, I'm like, oh. And it happened all night. And just to poke fun at my wife, she was poking fun at me when this first happened. She said, oh, you got a little stomach cramp? Oh, does it hurt? Yeah, it did hurt. And now you know why. So we're all on the mend. It's but it was kind of a gloomy weekend. But we were able to get out. I got to see my kids do an Easter egg hunt at church, and they went through there. It's probably my son's last time doing an Easter hunt, which is that's the bittersweet thing about it. You know, when you talk about folks with the kids and watching them grow up, and those of you guys who are dads and moms out there understand it. You know, I'm watching him, and look, it's a big difference when you're doing it at a church with a lot of kids there, and especially like you can't hide all those eggs. So you just put them out there and they just go and grab. It's more an egg grab than an egg hunt. But and so you're just trying to see them as they take off. It's a little bit different than when you hid the eggs around in the front yard and you watched your 1-year-old or not even 1-year-old walking through, picking up eggs and finding them and kind of figuring how it all works. In fact, I take that back. He wasn't he was a year and a half old. First time we did an Easter egg hunt with him in the front yard here, and you know, it's just watching that. It's always wistful, right? How far he's come along, how far his sister has come along, especially a year ago this Sunday, when we think about it on Easter, I baptized both of them. And that was a truly, would you consider that more important than the birth is when they're baptized with the Holy Spirit? I feel like it is. But regardless, it's not up to me to rank that kind of stuff. They're both very important moments in my life. And it's just an amazing blessing for me to have had them as long as I have, and hopefully as long as I live, they'll be around, and hopefully that's a long, long time to see them grow and mature and marry and have kids and everything. So I'm doing the whole parent thing right now, where you're watching it all happen and then you're kind of looking at the future and looking back at the same time. So if you're wondering the kind of headspace I'm at, that's kind of been where I've been over the last 48 hours, let's call it. So, but just putting a godly blessing and a thanks for God's blessings for me and all of you guys out there who have kids and have been, caring and worrisome parents. That God has blessed us in this way, and it's just amazing. Matt Felty is here. Woohoo! Yo, early on. Good evening, alias, the Carl we know and love. We've got a by the way, so when I ever see Carl, I always think of the weather because we're both two Virginians, and I don't know why that means I get to talk about the weather, but we do have a thunderstorm that's supposed to be rolling in. So hopefully the power holds. But we'll see. Whatever. God's will be done regardless. Anyway, hold on a second. Who liked my? Oh, was that Carl? That wouldn't happen to have been you liking the show on Facebook, was it? Dad's here. What's going on? King with me. What's up, family? It's Jason. I just went through a brand change. Which Jason? Hold up. What was your old screen name? Oh, Jackson. Yeah. Jason Jackson. What's going on, buddy? Yeah, okay. Good. That's good to know. I knew you had been here before because you had the wrench. That's how I know. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that. Um, but yeah, thank you for sharing that on Facebook. Facebook is this is my complaint about it. Everybody's got it, but the timeline is so off that a lot of times, like if you have something that's going out, like this is not if you want to catch it live, it is time sensitive, but you can come back to it and you can listen to it, right? But if you're trying to put time sensitive information out on Facebook, I don't know how you can count on it because I get announcements a week after they happen. And so it's like you could put it on there and somebody can go and find it, but broadcasting the information out there doesn't always it never reaches everybody. And I'm on Facebook every day. Anyway, that's my complaint. I wish because I wish I had better reach on Facebook. Now, a lot of people who know me know that I stream. Some of them tune in. Steve, he comes in on YouTube now, but he watches Lauren and Josh Brown. They come in, they comment through there. It's just it's the setup is it's prime setup for it, but the execution behind it is unfortunate, and it's unfortunately lacking. So I'm doing a little bit of small talk. We're going to have a kind of a short text wise first chapter, and then 13 is going to be a little bit more to what we're more close to what we're used to, like 22 verses. But we'll see what we normally get into, especially when we get into the judgment style of things that Isaiah likes to do. But we start off with Thanksgiving. Yeah, go off of YouTube notifications, more accurate. Yeah. And you can see more of the chat. A lot of times, because I can see Facebook comments on this broadcast from the dashboard I'm using. You guys can't see them. So I'll read them off and I can pull them up on screen for you. But it's harder. You can't, the Facebook group can't interact with the YouTube group. So I usually would tell everybody, just watch it on YouTube, especially if you're live streaming it. Okay. So we have been in Isaiah. And Isaiah, if you've been here at all, if you've read through Isaiah before, if you've heard reference to Isaiah, you know what a powerful book it is in the Bible. There is so much prophecy. And there's also a lot of, not just prophecy, but a lot of understanding of that there are consequences for actions. And a lot of people like to center, and it's good for us to do it to a degree, right? Understand that, Jesus, what do forgiveness, love, salvation, sacrifice, right? What he did for us. What he taught us, what he teaches us. And there's a lot of giving ourselves grace and a lot of understanding that we're broken. But what a lot of people forget and lose sight of, because it's the harder side of things, is how much Jesus talks about the folks who are not going to accept him, not going to accept what God has ordained as good and wholesome, and are, as the kids say, not going to make it. Now, we don't want that. We want everybody. We, not just us, but God as well, want everybody to get in. But unfortunately, people will reject it. People are going to reject this stuff. And people might say, oh, yeah, this is all nice and everything. That they don't live it. They don't even attempt to live it. Some folks will ignore it completely. Some folks will deny that it's real. And some folks will wear that like a costume and parade around in front of others. And there are others, like myself, like you guys in the chat, like so many other people around there, where it's a source of hope. It's a place where it's a place we're striving to be. It's a struggle, one with a roller coaster of emotions. At the same time, often you can be praying to God, and you're praising him in one sentence, in the very next sentence, or praising blessings that he's given you in in the next sentence, apologizing and repenting for something that you've done that you knew was wrong. You can go to him with confusion. Am I doing the right thing? What should I make of this decision I'm gonna make, or I need to make, or one that I have made? What if I'm wrong? What if other people are wrong? Praying for other people. What Isaiah does show up, and he's a reminder for us that we need to kind of stay on that path to understand righteousness, especially the way that they had everything laid out. The whole culture and nation of Israel that Isaiah was talking about, or Israel and Judah, was founded with the commandments of the Lord, under the protection, the very overt protection of God and his blessings and his promise to the Israelites. And so many of them rejected it that Isaiah, among others, showed up to say, well, this is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't have, look at what y'all done with this place. And so you see some of that there. And we need that in our life. Don't think, and maybe not as discouragement, but a little bit of that discipline. They said, we covered it in Proverbs already about sparing the rod. I think it was Proverbs, right? to spoil the child. We need that sometimes harsh reminder. Sometimes with where we're at in life, sometimes just a verbal rebuke. That slap across the face to get our attention. And I want that. I want that because I know that I'm headstrong. I know that um I can fly off the handle. And it's nice to have somebody who can just to know that, listening to a sermon or or more importantly, reading some scripture that'll show you, hey, get your head on straight, dummy. And you feel bad about it, remorseful, but at the same time, in the same book, the same Bible, there's forgiveness, there's redemption, there's love for you as the creator, or I'm sorry, not you as the creator, from the creator. In much way, like I was talking, like a father looks at his son, but in a way so magnified and extreme, we can't comprehend it. To the point that God put himself on this planet and put himself on that cross, or allowed him to be put on that cross and endure the pain and the humiliation that came with crucifixion at the hands of the Romans, who were very good at their jobs there. And once we're done with this project and we go into discussing some of the early church martyrs, that might help illustrate, if you aren't already aware, how effective the Romans were at implementing interesting and incredibly painful ways to kill people publicly. So, and they weren't the only ones. All right. So we've got Matt, we've got Alias, we got Carl, we got Thad, we got Jason. We got a good crew here. All right, guys. Let's get into it. Thanksgiving expressed. We've been talking about doom and gloom for a lot. Nice to hear some Thanksgiving. And on that day you will say, I will give thanks to you, O Lord, for though you were angry with me, your anger has turned away, and you comfort me. Behold, God, my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. For the Lord God is my strength and song. Yes, he has become my salvation. Therefore, with joy, you will draw water from the springs of salvation. And in that day, you will say, give thanks to the Lord. Call on his name in prayer. Make his deeds known among the peoples of the earth. Proclaim to them that his name is exalted. Sing praises to the Lord, for he has done excellent and glorious things. Let this be known throughout the earth. Rejoice and shout for joy, O inhabitant of Zion, for great in your midst is the Holy One of Israel. Very short. 12 is very short. But what do we see in there? Those of you guys who have read through Isaiah and understand a lot of the warnings and the doom that is being prophesied and the condemnation that goes on, so much of it, those who've been reading maybe for the first time as we've gone through these chapters, you'll understand there's a very dour message. There's a lot of thunderclouds brewing around Judah at this time. the fire and brimstone. You're starting to feel like, are we going to get another Sodom and Gomorrah? Or is God going to do to the Israelites what he did to the Canaanites? Because the Sodomites had done horribly evil things. The city came out to rape 2 angels. There wasn't 5 righteous men in that entire city. The Canaanites had become so evil that they needed to be wiped out entirely, according to God's judgment. There's a lot of wringing of hands and a lot of commiserating from Christians today that want to gloss over that without understanding. God is a perfect being. He doesn't change. He's the same today as he was back then. He doesn't decide to wipe out an entire people without cause. In fact, what do you know? That's one of the things I don't like about the song Reckless Love, is because it makes God sound like he's not in control. He is. He's always in control. And reckless in the way he's not in control of himself. God can have emotions. It's right there in Scripture that he does. But he's the master of his emotions, not the other way around. Oftentimes, we are the other way around. The emotions master us. Anyone sin because of that? Hands up. I can't see them, but I know they're up. But what do we see here in 12? A little bit of break, a pause in the action, a commercial break, brought to you by the Lord to remind you that you were angry with me and your anger has turned away. There would be an end to the anger. We've heard several parts of these chapters here where we see it referenced, right? God's anger still burns. Continue. God is going to have this happen. He's still angry. Now a reprieve here. For though you were angry with me, your anger has turned away, and you comfort me. My salvation. Trust, not be afraid. For the Lord God is my strength and song. Yes, he has become my salvation. And then that day you will say, give thanks to the Lord and call on his name in prayer. Make his deed known among the people. Go out there. Tell them what God did for you. Tell them who did it. And it's funny that we see, maybe the context is different, but in a book that prophesies the coming of Christ, in the chapter that talks about salvation and comfort and trust, that we see evangelizing. We see what seems like foreshadowing. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying it's just funny that that here, where we see so much prophecy and so much foretelling of what's happening, the part that, a big part of why Christ ends up showing up with the salvation and comfort we see go out and claim and praise his name. Tell him what he did for you, what he does for you. Well, that's why I'm not, Emmanuel. That's why I'm not at the softball game right now. Uh, I haven't played. I've only played one game. I've only played 1 week of softball. I didn't want to get anybody else sick. Because if anybody's had anything, any type of experience with a stomach virus of any flavor, you know, those things are very contagious. Alex is here. What's going on, Alex? Matt pulling me back into where I need to be. Isaiah 11. That is exactly what it is on that day. Yep. Then shoot them. Then a shoot the Messiah. Then a shoot like a bud, like a flower coming off the stem. Will spring from the stock of Jesse. Read about that in 11. Rejoice and shout for joy, O inhabitant of Zion, for great in your midst is the Holy One of Israel. For those who've been baptized, the Holy Spirit is in you. How about that? All right. Everybody feeling good? Everybody feeling comforted? Everybody not afraid? At least right now? Feels good because you read those, you read those comforting passages and words, and it's like, yeah, right. I'm a total screw up, but you know, I'm working on it. God's helping me work on this. Jesus' sacrifice allows me to have redemption. Allows me to be saved, right? Y'all all feeling good? Good. Now let's talk about Babylon. Because that's what I'm seeing, prophecies about Babylon. Well, I'll let Isaiah speak for Babylon. And I always get interested, me personally. In fact, I'm wearing my Al Assad shirt, one of my Al Assad shirts from my time in Babylon, which is modern day Iraq. It's just always interesting because I've been there. And I took a lot of walks late at night, early in the morning, out there by myself, trying to clear my head. Oh, sorry, Matt. Good call. Trying to clear my head and just looking around and thinking to myself, there's history here. I mean, not great history, but puts you like kind of in that headspace. Biblical things went on here. Biblical history happened here. So I'm always just interested when I hear about it. It's not good. It's not a good place. It's not like when you go to the folks that go to Israel and they see like a place, oh yeah, this is what a stable or the kind of place that Jesus might have been born in, right? And you see this like, oh yeah, and you're in the city right there, right? Now this is Babylon. Good things aren't said about Babylon, as we'll get into currently. So we'll start off in 13 prophecies about Babylon. The mournful, inspired oracle, a burden to be carried concerning Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos saw in a prophetic vision. Lift up a signal banner on the bare mountain. Summon them, the Medes and Persians, with a loud voice. Wave the beckoning hand so that they may enter the doorways of the Babylonian nobles. I, the Lord, have commanded my consecrated ones. I have even called my great warriors, my proudly exulting ones, the Medes and the Persians who triumphed for my honor, to execute my anger. A sound of tumult on the mountains, like that of many people, a sound of the uproar of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts is mustering an army for battle. They are coming from a distant country. From the end of heaven, the farthest horizon, the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Well, that section. Well, we do this in sections, right? Okay. What did I say? Usually not good things said about Babylon. We ended that. Excuse me, guys. We ended that with to destroy the whole land. Now, we're going to go back to the beginning, but just to wrap things up, if you're new to the Bible, especially if you're new to the Old Testament, Babylon's not a place held with very high regard. So they start off the mournful, inspired oracle. Very cool way, at least in the Amplified translation, to describe Isaiah. The mournful, inspired oracle, a burden to be carried concerning Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw in a prophetic vision. Right. So now we're getting what seems a little almost like revelation in his vision. So there's precedent, folks, for those of you guys who are worried about when we get into Revelations, like, well, what was it all just a dream? He wasn't the first really to see things. So you're gonna lift up a signal banner. He's talking about the Medes and the Persians, and call them on to enter the doorways of the Babylonian nobles. Sounds like they're getting ready to conquer. I, the Lord, have commanded my consecrated ones, even called my great warriors, my proudly exulting ones. He refers to as the Medes and the Persians. I'd love to, who triumphed for my honor. That's not what we think of when we think of anybody outside of Israel and Judah. So let's look up Isaiah 13 Persians. See what it has to say about them. Isaiah 13 describes the destruction of Babylon by the Medes and Persians, who were referred to as God's armies sent to punish Babylon for its iniquity, particularly the sin of pride. Prophecy mentions that Persians who were allied with the Medes were known for being not the Moops, for you Seinfeld fans, not the Moops or the Moors. That's different time and place and comedy. With the Medes, who were known for being great bowmen. It also notes that Babylon's defenders will be so cut off that a single man will be as rare and precious as the finest gold. We haven't gotten to that part yet. The prophecy is considered an amazing prediction since Babylon and the Medes were extremely distant from Isaiah, and they had not yet risen as great nations. Isaiah's message shifts from focusing primarily on God's people to other nations, including Babylon, which would persecute Israel. Now, Persia does have, and we will read this when we get out of prophecy and we get into books like Daniel, there is a role, a pretty central role, that Persia will end up playing. Emmanuel, wow, it's almost like Isaiah was a prophet. Indeed. And this is for those of you guys who struggle sometimes with the and Nico's not in the chat, but Nico, one of my favorite guys here, tunes in, started off just interested, right? Yeah. What's going on, Veritex? I knew it was coming from up north. All right. What was I saying? Oh, Nico. Just starting to learn. He was just interested in learning, and now is a believer. But one of the things when he first started reading, and we were going through a lot of times in some of the Pentateuch, some of Judges, we talk about Samson or what goes on during Kings or Samuel, right? It's like, man, some of this stuff is just unbelievable. And you can be like, is the Bible really accurate? Does it really know what it's talking about? What Emmanuel says here brings up a good point. Isaiah is predicting things that are unheard of at the time. And he's saying, I've seen this. God sent it to me in a vision. This is going to happen. He's not the only one who does this. And that's why, because he was right about so much, and because Jesus, the Messiah, or we know him as the Messiah, but for so many reasons, but so many because of so much of what Isaiah points to and what Isaiah prophesies on behalf of God, makes it harder to not believe than to believe. You know, some people look at stuff like, oh, we need stuff from outside of the Bible, like the Shroud of Turin, to prove, to prove these things. Do you really? And so, and then coming back a little bit to what Matt Felty was talking about, he's talking about the footnote on the ESV when we're talking about the Persians, those who exult in my majesty. It's basically, as we read the wrap up, it's who God's chosen to do this, to perform this task. And God's going to use great warriors to carry out this destruction. Because what do we end that with after he's finished talking about how great they are? Great warriors, proud, triumph, to execute my anger. Look, guys, right here that I've highlighted, you don't want that directed at you. I laugh, but that's one of the scariest things, maybe the scariest thing you could possibly encounter, being on the receiving end of God letting loose his anger. And trust me, if you've read through all the stuff that God's been putting up with and the patience that he's shown with Israel and Judah, all the way back to the end of the Exodus, you'll know there's probably a lot of anger there. The sound of tumult on the mountains, like that of many people, just like it's going to be a rush. They're coming from I guess for the illustration, from the end of heaven, the farthest horizon, the Lord the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Pretty impressive. Drop in the bucket when we're talking about God's power. Coming, yeah, God's coming in with the sun. Yeah, kind of like, yeah, he's getting the the ancient equivalent of I'm gonna nuke Babylon. Judgment on the day of the Lord. Wail, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It will come as a destruction from the Almighty, all sufficient one, invincible God. Therefore, all hands will fall limp, and every man's heart will melt. They of Babylon will be shocked and terrified. Pains and anguish will grip them. They will be in pain like a woman in childbirth. They will stare aghast and horrified at one another, their faces aflame from the effects of the unprecedented warfare. Listen carefully. The day of the Lord is coming, cruel, with wrath and raging anger, to make the land a horror of devastation, and he shall exterminate its sinners from it. For the stars of heaven and their constellations will not flash with their light. The sun will be dark when it rises, and the moon will not shed its light. In this way I will punish the world for its evil. Be that again. In this way I will punish the world for its evil, and the wicked for their wickedness, their sin, their injustice, their wrongdoing. I will also put an end to the arrogance of the proud, and will abase the arrogance of the tyrant. I will make mortal man more rare than fine gold, and mankind scarcer than the pure gold of Ophir. Therefore, I will make the heavens tremble, and the earth will be shaken from its place at the wrath of the Lord of hosts in the day of his burning anger. Like the hunted gazelle, or like sheep that no man gathers, each foreign resident will turn and go back to his own people, and each one flee to his own land. Anyone who is found will be pierced through, and anyone who is captured will fall by the sword. Their children will also be smashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses will be looted, and their wives ravished. Not good, right? Day of the Lord is at hand. It's my time. I'm stepping in. All hands will fall limp. Every man's heart will melt. You're done. It's like, yeah, like Emmanuel's saying, you're going to learn today. This is what's missing in the churches. It's the salt. It's the salt to go along with the sweet. The sweetness of salvation and redemption paired with the salt of conviction and judgment. Right? And we can cheer about this, right? But the sobering mindset behind this also is how far away are we from something like this? It's not good. Y'all hear me say that. That might be my standby, but my vocal tick that it's not good when I get to these points. They will be shocked. The Babylonians will be shocked and terrified, and they will be in pain, and they'll tear their robes, and they'll pull out their hair, and they'll be pain like a woman in childbirth, or a man with man flu. For those who are not ladies who understand what childbirth feels like, a man with man flu. They will panic. They will be afraid. Their faces aflame from the effects of the unprecedented warfare. Kind of feel like that scene in The Lost Ark. The guy's face melts. The guy's faces melt from the Ark of the Covenant. Right? Their faces aflame. The day of the Lord is coming, cruel with wrath and raging anger, to make the land a horror of devastation. And this might be the most Baptist, the most Baptist thing written in the Bible. And he shall exterminate its sinners from it. To put it more mildly, there will be an accounting. And God is going to darken the land. In this way, I will punish the world for its evil. While I'm doing this, even the heavens will turn their backs on you, and there will be no light. Light will run away and not want to be there for what I'm getting ready, what I'm doing to y'all. Hold still. And the wicked for their wickedness, sin, injustice, wrongdoing, arrogant, put an end to the arrogance of the proud, and abase the tyrant. And mankind will be scarcer than pure gold. As we were reading in that wrap up when we got a little bit of ourselves. That's people are dying, man, to the point where you're not going to hardly see anybody. Almost nobody is going to be left. And everybody who is heading this way to trade or to maybe move there, do something, travel through, going, nope, I don't want to be here. It's dark over there. There's no light. I don't know why. So I'm just gonna turn around and get out of here because I don't want I don't want to be here for this. I'm gonna go back to where I came from. Anybody who is found will be pierced through the sword, and capture will fall by pierced through, will be captured, will fall by the sword. The kids are dying. Houses looted. Wives raped. Before their eyes. That right there is the hardest thing. The home that you've worked and lived in is sacked. Your kids killed in front of you. Your wives raped. Actions do have consequences, Emmanuel. And it is why we have to improve. We'll never be good enough. There really, to be honest with you, there would be nothing, not much of anything. I take that back. We wouldn't have to be perfect. But in this case, if the Israelites had lived the way God prescribed, you're going to mess up. You're going to sin a little bit. You're going to have people maybe who are just evil even within Israel. But they're the exception, not the rule. If you handle that stuff as a culture, as a society, as a nation, they would still be just Israel. And y'all would be righteous and thriving. And instead, this is what's happening to the people who will come in and oppress you. This is the nightmare fuel. talk about people being God-fearing, and most of the time I was like, look, yes, you should fear the majesty and wonder and amazing power and essence that is God. But it's not the fear that it's not terror, right, in the way that we think of it, but respect, love, adoration, understanding of what, even in our limited capacity, of what he is and what he and that we exist at his tolerance. That type of fear. This is also this is a different brand of God fearing. When you see, oh, this is what he this is what he can do if he just flexes just a wee bit, if he just twitches a little bit. If he has a if he has a inkling of a thought, listen carefully. Babylon will fall to the Medes. Listen carefully. I will put the Medes in motion against them, who have no regard for silver and do not delight in gold, and therefore cannot be bribed. Their bows will cut down the young men of Babylon, and they will take no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes will not look with compassion on the children. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of Chaldeans' pride, will be like Sodom and Gomorrah when God overthrew them. Babylon will never be inhabited or lived in from generation to generation, nor will the Arab pitch his tent there, nor will the shepherd let their sheep lie, or nor will the shepherd let their sheep lie down there. But desert creatures will lie down there, and their houses will be full of owls. Ostriches will live there, and wild goats will dance there. Hyenas will howl in their castles, and jackals in their luxurious palaces. Babylon's time has nearly come, and her days will not be prolonged. Let's see if we did. So 1390. So here's the footnote here. Well, let's do the first two, or let's do a couple of these footnotes here. First one was Isaiah 13:7, where it was talking about all hands will fall limp and every man's heart will melt, which we just finished reading that area. Babylon was taken by surprise on the night of Belshazzar's sacrilegious feast, when Belshazzar was killed and Darius the Mede was made king over Babylonia, the realm of the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans became the dominant people in Babylonian when Merodach Baladan declared himself king of Babylon. The words Chaldean and Babylonian are used interchangeably. Following, so then we're moving to 1319, which is what we talk about. The Chaldeans' pride will be like Sodom and Gomorrah, and it goes on to how bad they're going to get wrecked. The Chaldeans dominated and ruled Babylonia from 625 BC until their empire fell in 539. Not a long time. But they were known as early as 1000 BC as an aggressive tribal people in the southern region of Babylonia. They were highly skilled in both the science of astronomy and the pseudoscience of they were highly skilled in both the science of astronomy and the pseudoscience of astrology. Lame. Oh, look. Astrology. What's your sign? They kept meticulous records of celestial motion and correctly calculated the length of a year to within just a few minutes. That's pretty impressive. Babylon, their capital city, was the center of trade and learning in the western part of Asia. The classical literature of the Chaldeans was written in cuneiform, but the common language, both written and spoken in Babylon, was Akkadian, that was increasingly influenced by Aramaic. The prophecy was written well over a century before Babylon's downfall in 539 BC. So what do we see? What ends up happening to Babylon IRL, right? Yeah. Let's see. No, not 689. We're looking for the fall of Babylon. There we go. What does Wikipedia have to say? I'm a crab. They want to say cancer. All right. Where's actually getting the com? Okay. 539, Cyrus invaded Babylonia. Historical reconstruction of the fall of Babylon has been problematic due to the inconsistencies between the various source documents. Both the Babylonian Chronicles and the Cyrus cylinder describe Babylon being taken without battle, whereas the Greek historians Herodotus and Xenophon report that the city was besieged. The biblical book of Daniel notes that the king was killed. We'll be getting there. Can't wait for. I always say I can't wait for X book. I can't wait for Daniel. According to Xenophon, Belshazzar was killed in this conflict, but his account is not widely accepted. Are we gonna doubt Isaiah? Isaiah doesn't necessarily say that would happen either. But at least hasn't said it yet. Nabonius surrendered and was deported. Deported. So what happens in like the capital? Then we get into Alexander the Great. Oh, look at you with the link that I can't copy and paste. I hate that StreamYard doesn't let me click on your click. It won't let me use that as a hyperlink. Hang on. Will take me there. Did I get it? Did I spell it correctly? Come on. Windows is plural. Come. Site can't be reached. Wait, and then site can't be reached. Then it pulls it up. There we go. Ooh, good. Situated 85 kilometers south of Baghdad. Been there. Property includes the ruins of the cities, which so. Do 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 do. Let's see if I can get a map. Nope. There's 224th Aviation. Hang on, guys. Sorry for the dead air. I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with it that much. Images. Airbase. That's got that on my coin. Ah, there we go. That's good. Let's see. Where's my share screen? Wait, where did the pic? Wait, wait. Where did the picture go? Oh, boo. All right. Daggone it. I'm boomering this stream up. Let's try this again. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Al-Assad Air Base. Baghdad is 120 miles to the east. Oop. And this is 85 kilometers south of Baghdad. So kilometers, miles. So to use your Pythagorean theorem there, ish, 50 miles and 120, 50 miles one south of Baghdad, and that was 120 miles east. Syrian border is about 10 miles to the northwest. No, not you, Siri. I mean, there we go. Al-Assad. Oh, can't see it because. So this was the air base I was at in Iraq. Or this is where in Iraq I was. Yeah. What? It's not. Oh my goodness. It doesn't even show it. Get out of here. No, I don't even want to look at you right now. All right, so you can see in the map here in this very poor picture now, Al-Assad right there. Okay, so somewhere around here. Wait, that's east. So looking at this area, that would be Babylon. Anyway, going back to what was shared by Matt. Babylon is an archaeological site which stands out as unique testimony of one of the most influential empires of the ancient world. One of the largest, oldest settlements in Mesopotamia and the Middle East. It was the seat of successive powerful empires such as famous rulers as Hammurabi, remember the Rosetta Stone, and Nebuchadnezzar. As the capital of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, which we were taught, this is the one in particular, booming times 1,000. I hope the mountains weren't speaking while you were there. They might have thought that they were. The Iraqis might have thought that they were when we were coming in on the helicopters. Oh, we can't see your webpage. Professionalism at its finest, folks. Neo-Babylonian Empire, 626, 539. This is what we were referencing. It is the most exceptional testimony of its culture at its height and represents the expression of the civilization's creativity through its unusual urbanism, the architecture of its monuments, religious, palatial, and defensive, and their decorative expressions of royal power. Babylon radiated not only political, technical, and artistic influence over all regions of the ancient Near and Middle East, but it also left a considerable scientific legacy in the fields of mathematics and astronomy. Let's see, does it have anything in here about the fall of it? I guess not. Oh, no. All right. Let's get back to Isaiah. Boom. There's not much else to go on with here except for just the reiteration of it's desolate. The ruins are there. And I can tell you, there's a lot of Iraq in that area that is a wasteland. And I remember when I think, oh, you're going to go over to the desert. You're going to go over to the desert and fight. I'm thinking sand, rolling sandy dunes and everything. This is mostly rock and dust. There's some oasis out there, the Haditha Dam, and where the Haditha and the dam there. And obviously there's other cities around there. It's interesting the weather that I saw there that I just never thought I would see in the Middle East. We get normal weather there. Even saw snow, believe it or not. Rained, not often, but regularly enough that I was surprised by it. But yeah. But it's not a wilderness there. It is a wasteland in many places. So what happens here? It's a reality. And Baghdad isn't the capital city of Babylon. Well, with that link that we are talking about, it's an archaeological site for a reason. Nobody lives there anymore. Not like that. Owls will live there. Ostriches live there. Wild goats dance apparently there. Hyenas, jackals. Babylon's time has nearly come, and her days will not be prolonged. So there you go. And we read this in the we read this at the beginning, or not at the beginning. We read this a few chapters ago. When Isaiah said, you guys are going to be put to shame, conquered, and oppressed, scattered by the Babylonians. And to, I guess, add insult to injury, and I guess for some other point of poetic justice, they are going to get wiped out themselves. Also, fun fact, because we've been talking about the Chaldeans. The Chaldean Christians were some of the oldest Christians in that region until most of them had to. I don't know if there's any Chaldean Christians left after ISIS, but you'll find a lot of them. I had a coworker who lived up in Troy, and there's a huge Chaldean population up there of Chaldean Christians. They were severely hunted in Iraq after Saddam during the time of ISIS. So there's judgment. Or how about this? There's real power and there's real terror behind God's attitude towards sinfulness and rejection of him when it becomes your entire society. He hates sin. That's why he wants us to avoid it. That's why he gives us redemption from it. This should be scary. This should be terrifying. But don't forget what we read in the chapter prior to that as well. You guys are making the effort, a real effort out there. Me too. Keep it up. It's encouragement from me. Encourage each other. Pray for those who have lost their way or never found it. Pray for us on the way. We all need it. But it's important to have compassion for each other to the point where you root for a person to change and turn away from things, from a life that doesn't include God in it, from a life that chases after materialistic or physical pleasures more than it prioritizes God. Those who don't understand and think faith is a punchline make you angry. They make me angry, frustrate, disappoint us. I get angry, frustrated, and disappointed in myself as well. Still want salvation. Still want forgiveness. We want them to seek that as well. I get the frustration. Remember, we're works in progress as well. We've got our own skeletons. We've got our own demons. It's important not to let that get in the way. So Emmanuel, I also like Troy. Emmanuel says, God loves us, but not the sin. He despises it. If this doesn't put the fear of God, then I don't know what to say. Yeah, wait till Revelation, maybe. Wait till some of the things that Jesus say or other people say. Emmanuel, Matt Felty really keeping me straight today. Jason, Veritex, alias Alex. That's a good crew tonight. Carl, I'll send you a friend request. Dad, you guys are great. Nice chatting with you guys tonight. It's not easy to read about this stuff. I mean, it is to some respect, but it's always good. Hey, God's letting it loose. His righteous and justice anger. Just at the same time, it's like watching other people get caught up in a tsunami that heading your way too, right? Heading our way. Glad to see you guys here. Glad you guys are participating in this show. I just love it. Love what y'all bring, and I love the community here. Thank you guys for tuning in and being part of this and making it better. I appreciate it. To everybody who is tuning in, haven't been part of the chat, don't want to be, whatever. It's okay. Just understand that I want to hear from you. All right, that invitation's open. But if that's not for you or you're not able to, I never went to the Babylon AO, but I had a merchant give me a prayer rug with landmarks on it. The rugs, I got some. We had a Turkish. Crap, you got me in the middle of my goodbyes. The rolling credits. We had the last 3 months we were there. We had a couple of Turks opened up a shop there right up. Geez, not all that far from us. It was a nice little, 2-minute walk from our barracks over there. Super nice guys to talk to. They kind of talked to us about, what it was like being a merchant there on a military base in Iraq, kind of the whole thing that went through there. Anyway, so they sold me some Persian rugs that I still got. I gave them to my mom. Everybody else thinks they're tacky. I like them. I got them for my mom, and she kept them for a while, but it wasn't her thing. Oh well. Anyway, back to you guys just listening. Just understand I appreciate that you guys are tuning in and that this is something that y'all enjoy listening to. To everybody who is catching this on replay, appreciate you watching. I'm sorry I missed you. I hope to catch you sometime soon. Matt saying, good dude. Took him a couple days. He asked me to make sure it wasn't for feet. I told him it was for wall hanging. It was a trophy. Yeah. You guys are a good crew. Great audience. Even better source material. Y'all, everybody, have a good night and God bless. Oh, wait. No stream tomorrow. Probably Wednesday and Thursday, but no stream tomorrow. Anyways, everybody have a good night and God bless.